Brok is very much a part of me. As a matter of fact, I
That
had
is
Brok, the
amazing.
brand, tattooed, and a lot of people, when they reach out to me on Cameo, want me to usually bless something for
Oh,
them.
wow.
So, and of course, Danielle and Sonny and Chris never realized I was so loved.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome on into a amazing episode of Behind the Voice. I'm joined by Robert Craighead, who voiced Brok from God of War and God of War Ragnarok. So thank you so much for taking the time. It means a lot. I'm a big fan of your and your character, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you for having me on the show, Abby. And hello to everyone in India and beyond.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because a lot of people are such big fans of God of War. And it was very interesting because usually when games come out in like everywhere, India doesn't get a lot of, like, there's not a lot of advertisements, there's no banners outside for a game that comes out. But for God of War Ragnarok last year, there were banners on metros and outside for the very first time. People were lining up on midnight to get the game. It was amazing, and I love to see that we have videos. It was so crazy. I love that. It was the
Oh,
first
that's
time ever.
fantastic. That's great to hear. I did not know that. Well,
Yeah,
they need to do some conventions then if they're going to have that kind of a reaction. Yeah.
exactly. That is everybody's dream at this point. That there's gotta be conventions and bring in voice actors. Everybody would love to meet all of you guys because you guys did such an incredible job in 2018 version of the game and then God of War Ragnarok. All of that is such a good one, and everybody just it blew people's mind. It sold so many copies, and sold so many PS5s even. So like it's a brilliant game, and everybody loves it. So I would just want to say first of all, thank you for your work and for your passion on all this project. So it really made us feel amazing when we played it.
Well, it's been a pleasure to work on the game for all these years and with the fantastic cast
Yeah.
and crew of it's just been a phenomenal experience, and I'm blessed and grateful to have been a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that being said, like, how's your 2023 overall been so far? Like, with I know like you might have gone to a few conventions here and there, but overall, how's it been with everything that's going on and with few movies that you also been done as so far? So, how is everything going?
Oh, everything's going great so far this year. I mean, of course we just have a writers and actors strike going on right now, so that's kind of put a kibosh on any production. But I do a television series in Atlanta that for Tyler Perry called
Yeah.
Ruthless. That we were able to get the fifth season shot right. I mean, days before the actor strike went into effect. So
That's good.
felt good about
Yeah,
that.
that's good. At least it got done, and I'm happy that you guys did that. And I know that's a show that it's pretty like I've not watched it unfortunately, but I know it's I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's and I'm really happy that you guys got it done. How has that like overall been for you, like working on that show?
Oh my God. I've been working for Tyler Perry for 7 years. I was on another series for him for 2 years,
Oh, wow.
and this one now for five. And he's one of the most generous and genuine human beings that
Yeah.
you'll ever have the pleasure to meet. And I love working with him. Very creative, and the man does he deserves all the accolades that he
Absolutely.
gets.
Absolutely. He's one of a legend, and I love that guy. It's like so good, and as you mentioned, he should get everything that he deserves. And I loved it. I'm really happy that everything's going so great. And like at this point that you have worked in like God of War Ragnarok, and you have also worked in previous game like Tomb Raider and all of that. So like video games in itself now has grown so much. What do people around you that you know think about video games now? Do they have their perception changed or something different, or is it sort of the same about video games?
I don't know. I think that it only continues to grow in popularity. I know my grandson. I have a grandson who's 7 years old, and he is. I mean, he asked me to get him a copy of God of War Ragnarok and have everyone sign it for him.
Oh, wow.
And so I did, and I said, "Well, you can't play this game yet, you
Yeah,
know." And he goes,
it's too
I
early.
know. I want to have it for whenever
Wow.
I'm a teenager and I can play
Well,
it, you know." And I'm like
that
going, "Okay." So I did.
that is amazing. I think he will have a great time when he finally gets to play it and get to know that you worked on this game and get to see that story. Oh my God, I cannot wait for him to experience that when he finally gets to, because oof,
With
it
the
would.
I don't know. Maybe he might not even be able to find a platform to play it on
Oh
because,
yeah,
the technology is
that's
going to be
right.
so inundated and old. And
That's right. That's right. I mean, you can maybe keep like a PS5 or a PlayStation or something. Keep it, and probably, hopefully, it will work after those years. And there will be one disc, and that is God of War Ragnarok, and that works.
well, he's got a PS5.
Oh, there
Believe
you
me.
go.
Yeah, he plays games. His big one is Madden football.
Oh
He
wow,
loves football. Yeah.
that's yeah. That game, that game keeps on going, and I love it. I love that he got a signed version, and that's pretty cool. But like I know, like with the God of War, especially, it's just such an incredible game. I remember the first time it was announced in the E3 press conference. Everybody's mind was blown, and when we played it, everybody's mind were blown at that time. Then when they finished it, and it was such a great game, and now God of War Ragnarok has done so much, and it even video games in general has grown so much, as you mentioned. Like there are movies made from video games now. Like recently, Gran Turismo got a movie, and Last of Us had a show, and so I know that God of War is also getting a TV series. So what do you think about, like, first of all, games getting like these adaptations of movies or series, and God of War getting a TV series itself?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. They did that with Tomb Raider,
Yeah.
and actually, well, wait a minute. I think Tomb Raider was a movie first, then a video game, and then they did a video or a movie based on
On
the
the video
video
game.
game that I was in.
Yeah.
And I think Walton Goggins played my character,
Yeah. Yeah.
Matthias. Yeah, so of course I can't knock him for going with that wonderful actor, but yeah, I think they should give us an opportunity to
Yeah.
maybe recreate our roles in the movies and TV shows.
Absolutely. I would love to see that.
That's just a little biased opinion, but
Oh, definitely. You're very much okay to be biased, because come on, you guys made these characters so much iconic, and it's so good. And I obviously, everybody wants you guys to reportray like these roles and give justice to all these characters, because we love you guys and you guys have done such an incredible job. But I'm just excited overall for the show, and just excited overall for everything that's happening around God of War itself. But you mentioned like earlier, like just a few minutes ago, that there's actor strikes and stuff that's happening, and people kind of like scared about AI and things. So like, what are your kind of thoughts about AI, and where do you stand? Do you think like it is not an asset, or do you think like it can be something?
well, I definitely think there's an audience for it. I got to be honest with you. I went and saw Indiana Jones, the new
Oh.
Indiana Jones, right before all the strikes
Hmm.
started happening. And of course, I knew what was going on with the de
De-aging.
aging, and he had the stunt guys, and they wore the full prosthetic
Yeah.
mask of Harrison Ford, and then of course whatever CGI or that
Hmm.
they did to de-age him, but there was just to me it kind of felt wrong. It felt like I was watching a cartoon at
Mm.
times, and whenever Harrison Ford finally came in at his current
Current. Yeah.
age in the normal part of the movie, it was like it was almost like 2 different films,
Mm.
and so I don't know. Maybe if you do a movie that's completely AI or
Mm.
something like that, but yeah, I know they do this a lot with the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
etcetera, but I'm not, I don't know. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea.
I mean, it's completely understandable. Like, with CGI and like de aging, which has been done, as you mentioned, in Marvel movies and stuff like that. It is kind of scary because it could be possible that maybe later down the line they don't need actors, and that's not what anybody wants. Like, actors give the roles like the personality, the depth that a character needs. And with AI, even though you can get the facial characters and all that stuff probably right, it just feels, as you said, like cartoony. Doesn't feel real, so you cannot connect with the character. And I feel like that is just will not work for the movies itself. And without actors, movies will not at all connect with anybody who's watching. Because even I saw like the recent Flash movie, and in that movie they brought up some actors back with CGI and stuff, and it just felt so bad. And it's just, I was not able to connect with those characters at all. So that was a strong disconnect, and everybody has negative thoughts on that. Everybody does not like those moments. So I wish they don't take this in such a way where they use AI or CGI in such a way where they kind of replacing the actors. So there's
I
that.
don't think they're going to ever be able to fully replace actors. I mean, maybe in some projects they might be able to, but the problem is using the actor's likeness
Yeah,
uh, for profit without paying the actors, etc. But yeah, there's no way that you can't convince me that you'd be able to have the same connection with AI
yeah,
creations working opposite each other as two actors,
yeah,
you know, uh, working one
absolutely.
on one and connecting and the emotions that come about, the
Yeah,
realism. Yeah, there's no way that they can replace that. And
yeah.
if they think they can, they're foolish. You know?
Oh, you're right. That if they think that is completely wrong, they are full of shit. But it's amazing to know that you were part of Tomb Raider, which the reboot, which I really enjoyed, and I was like, because I played like the older Tomb Raider, I played only one of them, and I didn't know about them, but I kind of got to know about Tomb Raider, Lara Croft from the reboot, and I really enjoyed it. It was so fun. And I really enjoyed the character that you portrayed, who became the antagonist, and I really loved it. But like, I'm curious, like how, like what made you decide to go into a get a role in video games or voice acting itself? Do you have a thought like, okay, I'm gonna try this? Like, what was going through your mind at that point?
Well, it's always been a desire of mine to do cartoons and voice work
Hmm.
because I was blessed with this voice
Lovely voice.
and as a child, and I did impersonations as a kid and funny voices, and so it seemed like a natural progression. I learned uh, the craft of acting first, and then whenever the opportunities presented itself to work as an actor doing motion capture,
Mhm.
and so it's not just voiceover,
Yeah.
and and that's pretty much all I've done is motion capture. I haven't just done any straight voiceover work.
Hmm.
I would love to, but the opportunity hasn't presented itself. So, but I mean,
Absolutely.
I've gone into the recording studio and in the voiceover booth and done things
Hmm.
on games that I'm motion captured doing voiceover work.
Yeah.
But as far as just like an animated series or an animated movie, that would be fun. I'd
Hmm.
love to do that. Yeah,
That is
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, any animated stuff. I love watching animated movies, and I love watching series. There's so many cartoons that I used to watch. Is there a series or movie or a franchise that you would like to be in the animated world? Is there something like that in your mind?
Oh, I don't know if there's one in particular. No, I'd love to play the villain in one of the animated like Superman or Spider-Man or something,
That would
because
be awesome.
Yeah, those characters are fun.
Yeah.
Always to play the bad guy.
Yeah, I love the bad guys as well. I don't know what it is. I immediately connect with the bad guys. It's just so weird. Like sometimes I feel like why am I connecting with the bad guys first? But it's just fun to know their stories and stuff.
Everybody loves to have the character that they love to hate. You know.
That's true. That is so well said. I love that. But like as you mentioned, like in Tomb Raider reboot, like what was your experience like working in that? I think that was your first or one of the motion captures that you did, full performance capture, I believe so.
Well, the first motion capture video game that I did, or the first video game I did, was called Resistance Burning Skies.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was for Sony PlayStation. And I went down to San Diego to do that at their studio there. And it was for a new handheld
Hmm.
game device. I can't remember what the name. I
I
feel
think
bad because
PS Vita, I believe so.
what's it called?
I think it was
No,
PS
it
Vita.
wasn't PS3. It was a handheld
Oh,
device
it's a Vita,
called
I guess.
a Vita.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And,
yeah.
uh, and so I did that, and it wasn't too long after that, then I got the opportunity to audition for Tomb Raider. And what was interesting about that is while I'm working on Tomb Raider, Corey Barlog
Oh,
took over as the creative director and the head of Sony Santa Monica Studios. And eventually we worked together on God of War. So,
wow. That is so cool.
so
That perfect timing. Perfect timing for you
yeah,
guys. Like for him to be joining in, and then you guys immediately worked out for that. That was so cool, and I'm really happy that it worked out eventually. But
yeah.
yeah, as of right now, I just checked. I was checking just to see how much sales God of War Ragnarok in general did, and according to till February or something, it was mentioned that God of War Ragnarok got 11 million copies sold worldwide, which is absolutely insane. That is so many people who played that game. The popularity has just gone off the roof. Like, what do you think about like the reception of this game, which is insane, positive? Like, I love it. But what do you think? What is your thoughts? Because guys worked on it for 10 years, including God of War 2018.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great to see that your work is being appreciated, of
Absolutely.
course. But, it's not like I get stopped on the street and, hey, aren't you Brock?
But your voice is so iconic. I think if anybody hears it and has played it, they were like, "Oh, that's Brock." Like your voice is just that. When I hear you, I hear Brock as well.
I have been on set. I was down in Mexico this last December filming a movie down in Mexico, and it was a primarily Hispanic crew and primarily Hispanic cast. I was
Hmm.
one of the few English speaking or actors from America down there, and one of the crew, while I was doing a scene, one of the crew goes, something came up and he just snapped and he goes, "Oh my God, you're Brock from God of War!" And then
No
everyone
way.
on the oh yeah, and then everybody on the crew found out, and they were all very
Wow.
excited.
That is so cool. That must be amazing to know that okay, somebody from there just all of a sudden came up and just say like, "You're Brock."
And
Like that is insane.
yeah, and plus I would think it was in a different language, so it would probably have been a different voice, I would think. But he probably plays the English version,
Yeah,
so
I believe so. Yeah, they must have played the English version to recognize your voice. That is amazing. I love that. That is so cool.
so is God of War in India? Is it primarily sold in
Yeah.
with Indian actors
Oh
doing the
no, it
voices?
is it usually it's all in English, so everybody just listens to and understands it goes through the English versions of it. So
Yeah, subtitles or
with
something,
subtitles and all
or
that stuff. Yeah,
oh, okay. I didn't
yeah,
know exactly how they do that. I know that some of them they redub the
they
voices,
did.
or
Yeah, I don't think so. India had that redub thing, but I think everybody just, especially when it comes to video games, people just love to play the game in their native language. They never change the language most of the time, unless there
Oh,
is a
yeah.
language changes, unless there is a specific language for India. Otherwise, they will just play in English. So if there's a Japanese game, they'll play in Japanese. It's amazing. People just love to hear the raw audio and go with that.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, that's why this was so many fans, and it's just so amazing. And I'm just curious, like, how did you get yourself to into this God of War game? I know that you said in an interview that you auditioned for Kratos, I assume.
Well, everyone auditioned for Kratos, I believe, at some point, you know, whenever they were getting it all set up. But of course, I had no idea at the time.
Mm.
It was a different kind of script. They didn't name the characters the same. Um, but it was him teaching his son, Atreus, how to
Oh, okay.
hunt. And so I knew, and it was interesting because I didn't realize it at the time. I auditioned for it, and then it was several months later.
Mm.
I get a call to come in to audition for Brock, but it wasn't Brock. I can't remember what the character's name was.
Uh-huh.
Uh, they used a lot of codes back,
Yeah, yeah.
so that, and I I did that audition, and it wasn't until we were filming and doing the motion capture on God of War that I snapped. I was watching Chris and Sonny doing this scene, and I go, "Oh my God, I auditioned for that scene."
Oh my God! Like, what was? I remember, like, I know that Danielle, when I was speaking with her last year, and she told, like, when she saw Chris Judge, obviously he's like big man, is like that voice, and so she was sort of intimidated at first. So what was your first kind of reaction to be like, oh, Chris Judge is playing Kratos? What was your reaction at that point?
Oh my God! Well, yeah, very similar to that. I mean, he's a force within his own presence.
Yeah,
I mean, he's what, 6 foot 2, 3, 4, something like that. He's a very large guy,
yeah,
muscular. He is kind of Kratos,
yeah,
and that voice is just magnificent. So but Chris is a very affable guy. He's very funny, very, very friendly, easy to get along with,
yeah.
makes a lot of jokes on set.
Oh man,
So,
I've seen some of the like the behind the scene footage that PlayStation put out, and it was fun to watch all the behind the scenes footage. There's some laughs there, some stuff like here and there, and I just love watching the behind this. It's really a one thing to see what's happening behind the scenes and how things going on, how things scenes are set, because you're in this room and you're shooting everything with those motion capture suits on. So it's incredible to just see that, and I love seeing all of that behind the scenes.
yeah, it's an interesting process. Yeah,
Yeah,
we call that the volume.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
right.
yeah, it's interesting because I did not realize, or actually I knew,
Mm.
but was reminded of it later that everyone is watching from their offices and desks,
Yeah. Oof.
cubicles or whatever, all throughout the building. And I was we were shooting a scene, and I was wondering where Richard Gobbert was. He's one of the creators, one of the writers, and I said, "Where is Richard at?" And all of a sudden, the voice comes from above. She goes, "I'm here, Robert." And then I snapped and realized,
Oh my
oh my
God.
God, there's over 300 people watching us work right now.
Wow. That I don't know if that's intimidating to you. That would, scare the hell out of me and stuff.
Well, like I said, you don't think about it if
Yeah. Yeah, that's
really,
true.
really didn't even phase me. But at the time, I went, "Oh wow, I better watch what I say,"
Yep, that gotta keep in mind. Um,
which is very hard for Brock to do.
oh, that is so true. Like, so when you got like when you started doing the role of Brock, and when you after the God of War 2018 game, and even after the Ragnarok, like, what do you think about this character Brock that got to play? Like, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of me in Brock. We It was interesting when we started off. We were trying voices, like it was kind of like a Swedish or Norwegian Viking
Mhm.
kind of dialect. Um, I was using a guy from. There's a television series, a reality series called Gold Rush,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's this, I think he's Norwegian or Dutch, up in Alaska. He's like the king of the Klondike as far
Mm.
as gold mining, and his name is Tony Beats. And so I started off by using a poor impersonation of Tony Beats as my Brok voice, and that kind of, they they changed it. We modified it as we went along. But as they get to know us as people,
Mm.
the writers were creating, like, I use a lot of colloquialisms because I'm from Texas,
Yeah.
and so I use a lot of these little sayings, like finer than frog's hair,
Yeah.
and things like that. And so they were writing a lot of those into Brock and saying these absurd things, a lot of which I had very much difficulty pronouncing.
Mm.
But
Oh my God, yeah. I can imagine.
yeah, I feel like Brock is very much a part of me. As a matter of fact, I'll show you. I think I've shown people before,
Oh
but
wow.
I had uh, I
That
had
is
Brock, the
amazing.
brand, tattooed
That is so
on
cool.
because he's been a part of my life for so long, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is so
close to my
lovely.
heart.
Oh, that is so lovely. That is so amazing. That is so lovely. Your love for that character is absolutely amazing. I love that character. He's probably one of those guys, and probably the only character that can talk straight up to Kratos without being scared. Like he can just go ahead and just talk to him, no problems at all. I love that. He's not
I think
scared.
Brock can talk to anybody. He
Anyway,
doesn't care.
he doesn't care. I love that.
Yeah, that was another funny thing when you say talk up to Kratos. Whenever we're shooting that, a lot of we always had a guy following around behind Chris
Hmm.
with a pole that had Kratos's face on it,
Yeah.
and he would walk behind Chris with it. And our eye line was supposed to be,
Hmm.
we were supposed to look at that. And then, of course, we would put like Brock's face here on my chest so that Chris could look down at that. But just so that you had a proper eye line
Yeah.
perspective,
Yeah. Yeah. That is crazy. Like I know, like with the heights and stuff, so you have to make sure that happens. That's amazing. Like you have to act in that way, and I find that very interesting. But with God of War Ragnarok, obviously the biggest thing that happened in the game was the death of the character himself. And so when you got to know about like this character is gonna die, what was your reaction that you're gonna die by the hands of Odin himself? Like, what was the reaction that first time when you got to know about it?
well, and they had Matt Sophos and Richard Gobbard contacted me, and actually, I had breakfast with Matt,
Mm.
and it was like a 2 or 3 hour breakfast, and he literally told me the entire game
Wow.
and what was happening, and then he gets to the part where Brock dies, and I'm like, oh my God, no, 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 and he explained to me that Corey, and this is the first time it was said, was Corey had said, in order to rip the heart out of the fans, you have to kill the family dog. And so I'm like,
Jesus. Yep.
I gotta agree. You remember old Yeller.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh my God.
So yeah, it was bittersweet. I mean, but to know that I affected so many people in regards to them feeling sad about it and whatnot, and I was touched. I was touched, and
Yeah.
of course, all of the actors, the whole family of actors and crew on this was so supportive. And hopefully it's not completely over. Maybe Brock will revive. I don't know,
Maybe,
relive.
maybe
We never.
I
Maybe I don't
secretly.
know. The video game. Maybe.
I secretly want to have that, like, see that happen. But it was so shocking to me that that scene eventually happened. I never expected it, and it was surprise for everybody. I just never had that idea, like, this would happen. They'll go this way, and because when the trailer dropped for the game, and I knew, like, okay, if to make this game even more crazier, they have to kill someone. It's just like that's how movies are also there. So I had that mindset, like, they have to probably kill. They're gonna kill someone. I was guessing who it would be, and everybody's most of the people thought was like Kratos is gonna die. That definitely he's gonna die because of the previous game ending and all that stuff. But I never expected that it's gonna be Brok. So it just destroyed me. And right after that was the moment of Sindri, and talking to Atreus, and I was talking to Adam. It was that scene was so intense, and I never had that emotion going through in the entire game. That scene just always brings tears whenever I watch it, and it's just so crazy, and I never expected the game to touch me in that particular way.
Well, and Adam is such a wonderful actor, and he nailed that performance on every take.
Oh,
I don't know how he had a single tear left in his body after we filmed that, because it was just take after take after take, and he
oh,
just poured out his soul. And yeah, I love Adam with all my heart. Yeah,
he
yeah,
is so cool, amazing, a lovely guy, and I just love the fact that he brought so much into all these scenes and just made me feel so terribly bad for him. And just like, oh my god, I never expected I'm gonna feel that bad for Sindri, because Sindri was like a playful character, and I never expected that Brock, being such a tough and such a strong guy, is gonna end up like this. So it was just a crazy mind. I was like, what is happening in this game?
and, and they made it happen so quickly. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like laying into Tyr and just like he's just going off on him,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, there's Odin stabbing me. It
Yeah.
was just all happening like that, and that's why I think it was so shocking. And they did a great job. The
Yeah,
writers
absolutely.
and and Eric Williams, the director, and all the crew, they did a fantastic job. Yeah,
Did,
they captured
yeah.
the surprise, the moment, and then of course Danielle and Sonny and Chris, their performances.
Yeah.
After I died, I didn't never realized I was so loved.
Yeah, you're so loved. That was a beautiful and wonderful scene. Um, how was it difficult to shoot that scene, particular, like, because you're surrounded by most of the cast members at that time? Was that a difficult day to shoot, or did you prepare it differently for that scene?
Well, I mean, of course, it was difficult, not only because of what's going on within the scene, but what's going on in our lives. I
Mm,
mean, we're coming to an end of 10 years of working on this project together and this family, this
yeah,
unit, and this was kind of like we were killing it,
yeah.
Everything was dying. This was it. And so, yeah, it was a difficult it was a difficult day, but everyone was very supportive. There was a lot of tears. There were a lot of tears and a lot of hugs.
Yeah, I can't imagine that day how it must be for you, and it just speaks to the game as well, how everybody was acting, and how uh, when you died and you were almost dying, and when you're saying your last words to Sindri, it was just you and Sindri, and everybody else just backed off, and that moment specifically for you two brothers. Love that. It was such a touching scene, and I actually in so many games I've never seen that. Usually there are, or even movies, there are actors besides sometimes, and you can see, but it was like completely everything is clouded, everything is dark, and it's just both of you. So I just love that scene so much, and it was so crazy. And I remember speaking to Adam. I remember he was telling that you guys did that scene, and your cameras got stuck at one point.
Yes,
So,
they did.
and he was
Well,
like,
see, you have like
"Yeah,
you have a camera coming out and microphones. You've got all these cameras on your head and gear, but there's this one that sticks out right here,
yeah,
and so whenever he's holding me up and I'm dying and he's got his and we're emoting or he's emoting more than I am. I'm just dying. I'm just laying there dying.
yeah."
And but they hooked. Ah, cut. Let's go again.
My God, yeah. He told me like,
So
"Oh,
you couldn't get as close. You had
yeah."
to kind of
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It must be like you have to see set yourself a little apart from each other. Because he was mentioning like, okay, he was so ready. He was happy that we got the scene, we nailed it, and everything was great. And then came up the comeback and like, okay, you have to redo that scene. And I was like, God damn
redo it.
it.
We redid it several times. So
Oh, man.
and like I said, Adam nailed it every single time.
God, that's so amazing. But I think apart from I know like a lot of people say that that is one of the most important scene or impactful scene for Brock. But I feel like there was another scene that I like a lot more was when Brock got to know that he lost his part of the soul. And that was a very interesting. And I was because we got to know from Sindri first, like this happened, and then Brock finally got to know that oh, this has happened. So, what was that moment like? What was that scene like for you when you got to do the shooting for it?
Well, to me, yeah, it was definitely the most powerful scene for my character. The realization of what has happened and that I did not know all this time, and that my brother had, you know, brought me back to life and then kept it from me. And, it was, I wanted to make sure we got it right. And I wanted to make sure I got it right because I felt it was really necessary for the audience to feel Brock's internal pain, or else you wouldn't have cared whether I died later, you
Yeah,
know?
that's
I
right.
mean, you might have, but that scene, I believe, makes you connect more with your emotions to Brock and what he was experiencing going through in his life, you know?
Yeah, and that's why after that scene, when he eventually does die, and his last words like, "You have to let go, even though you saved me," that felt even more like, oh man, like it just felt more and more. So I just that scene was just like a intense one, and I like how it all worked out, and it was such a interesting and I never just that scene just is the most memorable scene. These two scenes are the most memorable scene in the God of War Ragnarok game, and I just keep on. And I have this habit for some weird reason. I go to YouTube and I watch people's reactions of it, and I'm like, how are they reacting? And I don't know why I see that, but it's just fun to watch other people's reactions. And I'm assuming that you have seen like the scenes on YouTube and how people are reacting to some of your scenes or some of your shots or
Oh,
overall.
sure. That's one of the most fun things about doing this, is, almost immediately there are
Yeah,
playthroughs on YouTube. I mean, unbelievable how
yeah,
fast people goes out there. And, it's fun. I mean, to watch and to hear the interactions and, I'm blown away a lot by the response and the feelings that people have towards the characters.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not be touched? I
Absolutely.
mean, how could we not be touched by everyone's reaction? So,
Yeah. That's so amazing. And people really, I remember like when the game was coming out, a lot of people were, at least some of my friends that I know, they were taking leaves. They were going to take a couple of days off from
oh,
work and they're not going to go there. And they're going to just play the game 2 days straight because they have to get a head start or something like that. It was just a whole phenomenon at that point in time. So I just love A lot of people did that. A lot of people were like writing, emails like, "I'm not gonna be available this day." So, it was all that stuff, and I
And then
love it.
whenever they pushed the date, then they had to change their vacations.
Exactly, yeah. So wonderful.
I think that's what people were more angry about than anything. Oh man,
Man,
I had to put in for that vacation and now I gotta change it.
so
I'm
last
not gonna
moment.
do
Yeah. Oh man. But like you mentioned, like Chris Judge would be, making jokes and stuff. But was he the one who would like the person that could easily break you during the shootings or stuff like that, or is there somebody else that was breaking you most of the time when the shooting was happening?
Oh, everybody's I mean, Chris, all he's got to do is, you know, a little bit of flatulence and it cuts me and cracks me up, you know. Um,
Wow.
but but no, everybody, Alistair, who plays Mimir,
Yeah.
he's always got some clips going on, so he's always fun on the set,
Yeah.
and, yeah, we have a good time, but we also know that we're there to get a job done, so
Yeah.
but we have fun while we're doing it, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't imagine how how many of this. I would love to see like kind of like the blooper reels of those stuff as well. It would be fun to watch.
I believe there might be some out there, yeah,
Oh yeah, I would love to
there's
watch that.
gotta be because 'cause they've got cameras running
Oh
all
yeah,
the time,
yeah. There
and
has to be. Yeah, but I remember that funeral scene was like very powerful. I didn't expect it to have a funeral. I didn't know that there was something like that. Then I found out on YouTube that there's something like that. I was spoiled, unfortunately. So I was like, oh, I have to do. So I went there and I did the whole funeral thing, which is very, very amazing. And I saw that how Kratos had the respect for Brok, and that was lovely because in the first game he didn't like the dwarves. He didn't care about them really, either Brok or Sindri. But I think by the end of the Ragnarok, at least he had the much more respect for Brok. Even before that, when Brok got to know that he has lost his part of the soul, the blessing Kratos wanted Brok to give the blessing to the spear.
right,
That was
yeah,
wonderful.
that to me, that was really, an important, part of that scene as well, and a lot of people, when they reach out to me on Cameo,
Yeah.
and want me to do a video for them, they want me to usually bless something for
Oh
them,
wow.
so
That is so cool. Wow, that is amazing. I would love that blessing as well. That would be super amazing. uh, but like, what are your thoughts about overall? Like, I know there was one scene in particular that I really enjoyed. That was sort of in the beginning, and that was when Brok meets Atreus for the first time, and he doesn't recognize him. He's like, "Who is this guy?" Like, I have not seen, and Kratos just says like he's my son, and like he has like grown so tall, and I love that interaction. It
what
was
happened to him?
exact. I love that interaction so much, and I always laugh at that. It's such a great scene. I never
Well,
expected.
just look at Sonny.
Yeah,
I mean, from the time we started on the game, he
yeah,
was just a little boy,
yeah,
and now he's a full-blown, teenager driving a car, and you know,
yeah,
he's he's changed a lot over the years. So every as young men do,
yeah,
they grow up.
yeah.
Boys turn,
Voice turn. Everybody was shocked at that point when they saw the trailer. Like everybody was like, "Wow, he's grown up because of the voice change," and it was so hilarious to see like how everybody was reacting at that point. So I love that. It was
oh,
so different.
he's a great kid. He's
Yeah,
a great kid.
and he played
Or
it.
excuse me, he's a great young man.
He's a
Yeah,
great young man. Yeah, not a kid anymore.
not a kid anymore.
Oh man. But like the biggest relationship that Brock has obviously is with his brother Sindri. Uh what are you, because we know like in the first game they didn't really connect with themselves. They had some issues going on between them, and then later on unite. So what are your thoughts about not only the relationship between Sindri and Brock, but your relationship with Adam as well over the years?
Well, my relationship with Adam has always been wonderful. I mean, he's you. How can you not like the guy?
Yeah.
But as far as an actor to prepare for it, um, when I was when I was like in high school or something, my father and his brother got into a disagreement, and they wound up not speaking to each other for over 30 years.
Mm.
And it took the death of one of their other brother's sons at the funeral to bring them back together. So I witnessed all of a very similar atmosphere and everything firsthand.
Mm.
So I used that in the relationship that I had with Sindri,
Yeah.
as far as the you still love your brother,
Hmm.
but you can't admit that you're wrong,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be the weak one, I guess, because they're both strong
Yeah.
characters. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult situation to be in, and it was interesting to play out the dynamics of that. But as far as, but that's why we're actors, because as far as Adam and I's relationship off camera is wonderful. Yeah, I love the guy.
Yeah, I love the guy as well. He's amazing, very wise, and just very lovely. And it was very fun talking to him when I got to moment to talk to him. And I just love the relationship as well with Brok and Sindri that developed over the game. In the previous game, we didn't get to speak as much as the player. We then didn't get to interact as much as we got to do in Ragnarok. There's so much interaction and so much positivity within those two characters, and I love that whole story and eventually how it all ended up. It was crazy, and so it was amazing to see how Ragnarok did this with these two characters that initially were not as we didn't we did care about those characters, but we are not so much interacting with them. But eventually by Ragnarok, we cared, I think, a hell lot more for those characters, and it was so lovely and touching.
Yeah, that was part of the preamble
Mm.
of telling me that Brock was going to die was beforehand telling me how involved I would be with the
Oh
game.
wow.
Brock and Sentry are going to be so much more a part of this game. And so
Yeah.
that was great to do. I mean, it was fun to be a part of and get to go on adventures with Kratos and
Yeah.
and even fight a few battles. And
I loved Brock when because he would charge right up before I even did anything. He was like ready to fight, ready to go with his hammer. I was like, wow, this man is so ready, and I love him. Like it was amazing to have by him. Like
I'll knock your kneecaps out.
I love that. That was so good. He was so ready. Amazing. But I know like people love your character so much, especially after Ragnarok. Like, what was like the best fan interactions that you have ever had ever since the Ragnarok game came out, or even after 2018 version of the game?
The best fan interaction?
Yeah,
I you know, I guess on Twitter, there was so much love on Twitter after the first game came out.
yeah.
And I loved what I would do is I would just be myself or be Brock, the character, when I would respond to the fans. And they just loved it. And so it was always fun. I could say whatever I wanted to on Twitter. And you know, and then it's interesting because right before Ragnarok came out, and I guess Elon Musk took over Twitter,
Yep.
and I somehow or another got locked out of my Twitter account.
Oh wow.
And so I wasn't able to, I had all these fans and followers on Twitter. I think it's something like 18,000 or something like that.
Oh
And
man.
I'm like, I couldn't I couldn't interact with them during that phase. So it was very heartbreaking for me and
Oh
disappointing. But I reached out to Twitter to see if they could fix the problem, but to no avail. They're
Damn.
not interested. They're not interested in helping the user. They're interested in helping the people who are advertising.
Of course. That sucks. That is ridiculous. I wish that. I wish that would have not happened. It's so ridiculous. Man,
Yeah.
it happened
So
with the one of my friends as well who lost their Twitter account, but they're not interested in reviving that, as you mentioned. Advertisers first.
yeah, well, I'm not. Yeah, and so I just kind of, I'm focused more on my Instagram
Mm.
and Facebook, and uh, also I'm doing this new thing with Streamily. I don't
Oh
know if you're
yeah,
familiar with. Yeah, so
signings and
I'm
everything.
doing my very first live signing for Streamily on August 26th. So I'm going to plug that real
Hell
quick.
yes.
So come to streamalive.com, Robert Craighead 1, and make a pre-order. I actually have only got a few Funko Pops left, but if you get in there and order them now, then you'll be able to secure one before August 26th. But
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
definitely check the Streamily website out. Like signing, live signing, first live signing with Brock himself. It will be wonderful. I would love to join in and see all the people. I know people will be
Oh, I
super
hope you
excited.
do. I hope you do. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'll
And
be fun.
yeah, it's super fun. And I love people's like especially whenever game comes out and it's popular whatnot, especially even God of War, people's fan arts. I love seeing their fan arts, their design, the art, all of that. It's so cool and so amazing what people have. The talent is insane.
The fan art is unbelievable, and then I have some little things that fans have sent me,
Oh
like
wow. Oh wow. That is so
this little
wonderful.
made out of Legos,
Yeah.
and this was by a guy on Instagram, Lieutenant Bricks, and
That's so
you know, I,
beautiful.
I liked him so much, I ordered like three more from him and put them in little glass boxes for my grandkids.
Oh wow.
Uh,
That's beautiful. That looks very cool, by the way. My God.
oh, and then I also have another one that was really interesting, a hand carved Christmas ornament of
Wow.
Brok's head.
Oh,
And that came from someone in the UK. And
wow.
I'd show you that, but my wife has put it with the Christmas decorations. So
That's perfectly fine. That is insane. Man, people have insane talents in what they, you know, design. It's crazy. And that love that you are getting, it's so amazing to see how people are so creative. My God. I love that. That itself was amazing.
oh, absolutely. That guy, I think you can find those Christmas ornaments. It's not just me. I think it's Brok, Sindri, Mimir.
Oh,
Of course, Mimir is ahead
of
already.
course. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but anyway, they're hand carved and hand painted. And
Beautiful.
anyway, yeah, I bought those from the guy in London because I'm I'm an artist. I like to get paid for my art, and
Yeah.
so make sure other people are paid for their work as well.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. That completely makes sense. It's so wonderful. God of War Ragnarok has touched so many people's heart, and it's touched my heart, and I always forever. It's gonna probably everybody is gonna remember this game for years to come. Like it's just one of the best games that I've played last year, and it's just such a. If there was a possibility, I could erase like my memories of playing God of War Ragnarok, and I play it again. I would do that, like again, to play that game from the very beginning with no memory, and experience it from the very beginning. That would be so wonderful.
Oh,
That's
that's
wonderful.
awesome. Well, I have some of my best friends, and they're older guys like me, and they're like, you know, one of my best friends, and I didn't tell them what happened,
Mhm.
and it was a long time after the game came out. I mean, maybe 8 months after the game came out, and he calls me up, and he's going, dude, you didn't tell me you died. You know,
Oh man. Well, that
I'm going, well,
if you would,
that would have ruined it
yeah,
for you.
you wouldn't be doing this
I
call
said,
at that time
how
then.
could you, how could you go this long without finding out anyway? It's because it's all over the internet.
Yeah.
He goes, well,
Like,
I don't look at that stuff. I don't look at it.
beautiful. I so respect that he doesn't look at the internet and sees what's happening, because for a lot of people they would be spoiled because already it must be out there videos and stuff and screenshots and all of that stuff. So respect to him that he didn't get spoiled and he got to play it throughout and get that surprise factor. My goodness, that's lovely. Uh, but I was looking through your Instagram and I know that you recently did a short film, Lucy's Last Song. How was like talk to me about like what this movie is all about and how did it came up to be?
Well, actually, what happened was I had read the script and I just fell in love with the story. It was just beautifully written. Roscoe Guerrera,
Mm,
he wrote and directed it. And so I reached out to him and he asked me to put an audition down for him. So I did. And he, he fell in love with what I did. And Bria B, the actress who plays my daughter,
yeah,
it's a story of a father and daughter's relationship. The daughter comes to see her father. They've been estranged for 15 years in the middle of the night, and she's soaking wet and confronts him about some things from their past. And anyway, when we got it finished and he was in post production, and he sent out an email saying something to the effect that he probably wasn't going to complete it. He was just going to put some of the scenes on YouTube and send us whatever we needed for our reels.
mhm,
And I just picked up the phone and called him. I said, no, 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 no. And I produced a few other films and had been learning about the post production process. And so I said, why don't you let me take over this
wow,
and, uh, give me the freedom to be able to complete the film. And so he did. And
wow,
put together a post production team, and it wound up phenomenal. I mean, actually, we'll be at the Burbank International Film Fest September 22nd. If you want to come and see it, hop on a plane from India. And come
absolutely, I
on
would.
over.
I know you guys also won an award for the short film as well.
Oh, we've won several awards. So
Yeah,
we won the Atlanta Shorts Fest. We've won. Uh, oh my God, Vegas Movie Awards. And like I said, we were just in the LA
yeah,
Shorts International. That was a lot of fun. And now we're going into Burbank. Then I believe we have the Glendale International Film Festival after
wow,
that. So, and
wonderful.
hopefully more to come. There's a
Yeah,
lot more that we haven't heard a response back yet from. So hopefully,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
that the trailer itself, when I watched it, it really got me interested. Like, what's going on? Like, why did she say that cops are after her? Like, what's happening? Like, I was really, and I really loved uh the the daughter and the father are not so, they have not talked to each other. They're not connected. They're so separated. And it really got my curiosity up. So I just really got interested in the movie straight away when I saw the trailer. So I'm just pumped to
Well,
see it if I can.
yeah, there's been a few times that as far as film festivals, they put it out online as well as at the film festival.
Hmm.
But I had to be honest with you, whenever because I had seen it on this big screen for the first time at LA Shorts, and wow, what a difference, man!
Yeah.
It was magnificent on the big screen. I was so proud.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
I would
if
love
you
to. I would.
yeah, well, it'll be out there online again, but then
Yeah, we'll
try
miss that
we'll
big theater experience, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, the big theater experience is fantastic. It's got original music and original song that we recorded at the Highlands Jam Studios here in
Uh,
Calabasas. Old friend of mine, John Pratt.
uh,
Yeah, I hired him to do the score and used his recording facilities, and it just turned out beautiful. Rodney Thurman wrote the original song, and it's good enough to be a hit on its own.
Absolutely. I'm just, as I said, pumped to see it. If I can get the opportunity to, hopefully I can watch it. If not, like at the end, maybe online, if that's possible. I'm just
Oh
really
yeah,
excited.
I'm sure there's going to be another online, and then after the festival circuit, we'll make it available to for people to see online. Yeah,
That would be
don't
wonderful.
worry. Okay.
Thank you so much. Well, I do know like you have been few conventions, but I would love to know, is there a possibility that you would ever, whether it's for convention or whether you personally would be visiting to India?
I haven't been asked, but if anyone asks, I will be there. Yeah, I would love to come to India. Love to see the culture, and my uncle used to go to India on
Oh
business a
wow.
lot, and he told me that got to get over there sometime. As the people are so beautiful, and everything is so colorful, and
Yeah.
I would love to get over there sometime. I do have we all, Chris and Sonny and Danielle and Adam and Mamir, um, or Alistair.
Yeah.
We'll all be at Sakaname, I think if I'm saying that right,
Yeah.
Sacramento Anime Convention. That will be Labor Day weekend
Mhm.
coming up here at the first weekend in September, September 1st through the 3rd. So once again, you could just come over here for the month of September
Yeah.
and go to Sakaname and then come down to Burbank and go and see the Burbank Film Festival.
Oh yeah, that is a great deal, to be honest. Two things at once. That would be lovely. Well, I will leave you with this, and this is something that I think a lot of probably fans would ask you. But do you have like a favorite line that you have recorded over the both the games? Do you have a favorite line, and if you do, can you say it?
I've got a couple of sayings that I love to say, and I use them in my everyday life. Like bless your sweet Nana's nethers. I do love that. And one thing that I will say this whole experience has been for me playing Brock, my heart is full of fucking gratitude.
Lovely. That is so good. I love that. That is so
My
wonderful.
heart and belly are full of fucking gratitude.
That is amazing. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time and for talking to me about Brok, about God of War Ragnarok, about the movies that you have done. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's just been a pleasure. I'm a big fan of the character and yours, so it's been a pleasure to me to talk to you.
Oh, it was wonderful talking with you too, Avi. Thank you so much for reaching out to me and having me on your show.